Alrighty, we finished that part. We're getting closer to the main course. We're getting there, but we're going to get through part 4. Could it be possible that we could become free with blockchain as things get more and more psychedelic? You see how everything's getting more and more psychedelic? So, let's listen to what Nixon has to say. He has so many gems. Television in its present form is the opiate of the people of the United States. What would Nixon say right now? The television was the opiate? Oh my goodness. This guy, Charlie Shrem. The reason we're all here is that the current financial system is outdated. Thanks, Charlie. So you probably don't even know who Charlie is. I don't blame you. I mean, you only, what kind of person must I be to be so fascinated with this kind of, overview of all these people's lives? He finished serving his prison term after he worked with Ross on the Silk Road, and after he introduced the Winklevoss twins to Bitcoin, after Winklevoss got paid out by Zucks. Zucks pays out the Winklevoss. Winklevoss take their 20 million, buy up all the Bitcoin they can get, thanks to Charlie helping them. Then Ross takes the fall, and even Charlie. But while Ross goes to prison for 2 life sentences, Charlie only goes in for 2 or 3 years. And now he's back out, access with his millions. I am trying to actually remain unbiased in everything I am saying. I don't know this man. I don't know the Winklevoss. It's so fascinating what all these people have done, what they were a part of at the beginning. Imagine if you had taken $1,000 in 2011. A guy that I know of through a dear friend of mine in New Zealand, he saw Bitcoin, he was switched on to it, and he was almost a street bum. And he was hanging out with my friend, and they were talking all the time about how they were going to change the world, everything they wanted to do to make a difference. And he told my friend, my buddy, that Bitcoin was where it's at. And his mate said, my mate said, I don't have anything. He said, well, I don't have anything either, but I can scrounge together $1,000, and I'm just going to buy up all the Bitcoin I can for my $1,000. So back then, I think it was literally, as you look at the records, it was $1. So presumably, he got about 1,000 Bitcoin. And then my friend introduced him to this super hot, sexy Brazilian, which is probably not hard to do. and then Bitcoin took off. And within 2 years, he was a millionaire, that guy. That guy was an instant millionaire. Because when Bitcoin hit $1,000, remember 1,000 times 1,000, we've got to do math, right? 1,000 times 1,000 is a million. So he made his first million in 2 years. But then my friend told me that he kind of stopped meeting up with him and stopped discussing how they were going to change the world together. But he maintained his stance that everything was kind of stuffed. And he said, look, this super hot Brazilian chick, she reckons that up in the hills in Brazil, it's really good. So I'm just going to head over there and do some beehives and just check out. See you, brother. When was the last time we heard of him? So he just took his 1,000 Bitcoin, moved to Brazil, lives in the hills as a billionaire. Hey, whatever floats your boat, right? The blockchain does one thing. It replaces third-party trust with mathematical proof that something happened. I get it. You see, from this point on, you need to kind of you either check out or you hold on. This is that point in the trip where you're like, no, like Barnaby, when the trip starts happening, you're like, can this slow down? Like for real? Surely not for real. Yes, this is that point when the dose is too high. You signed up for too much Barnaby today. Too much Barnaby. And so when you do that, it maxes, but that's cool because you're just going to flow with it and trust that the right bits will land. Because we're going into the code, we're going into the tech, we're going into the mystery and the magic of how the impossible is now possible directly for you. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. Third-party trust, mathematical proof that something happened. It's a decentralized system that records and verifies transactions on a publicly encrypted ledger. Whoa. People don't need to understand how blockchain works for it to enrich their lives. People didn't need to understand how email worked in the 90s. You don't know how SMTP or POP3, I bet you don't even configure that stuff because you're just in Gmail. And that's how Gmail got you. They got you because you didn't want to configure SMTP. You didn't want to do anything with the code, so you let them give it to you. They were told to copy and paste an address into a box, type a message and hit send. That was it. People still hated it at first. The annoyance of, what's this copy and paste? The Control-C? This is so annoying. It's the same with cryptocurrency. You copy and paste an address into a box, type a price in, and you hit send, and it goes there. And how did email turn out in the end? Kind of worked, right? But then people got too much email. What does Morpheus have to say to Neo about all this? Hey, I'm being Keanu. What are you trying to tell me? That I can trade my Bitcoin for millions someday? No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't even have to. And you laugh and you have no clue. What does that even mean? What does that? You don't believe that deeply. And Barnaby's often wrong, but sometimes he's right. Because that is insane. You won't have to trade your Bitcoin. No, hang on. Where's this going? That trip is going too deep. My deepest thanks, says our dear other Aussie brother, who they don't like very much. Thanks to the US government, Senator McCain, Senator Lieberman for pushing Visa, MasterCard and PayPal, Amex, money brokers, etc. into erecting an illegal banking blockade against WikiLeaks starting in 2010. What perfect timing. It caused us, WikiLeaks, to invest in Bitcoin. This is 2017. Bitcoin was $3,000 at that point. You can read the posts from Satoshi. Satoshi was messaging still back then, Satoshi Nakamoto, the man who invented Bitcoin. And he was like so pissed. And maybe there's no coincidence. Well, personally, just personally don't believe in coincidences. And so it's within only months or even weeks until Satoshi disappears, checks out, and when Assange makes this notification, and he says, and Satoshi says in the forum, you can go read it today. This is how this stuff works. It's there in the records on bitcointalkforum.org. He says they've kicked the hornet's nest and it's coming right for us. We were not quite ready. We didn't know we were going to hit the mainstream that hard, that fast, because when Assange says it, then the media attention went there. We should have all been paying attention. We just saw those headlines, but it didn't click. Just like when Morpheus says you won't have to. Doesn't click. So here we go, Bitcoin. It was originally designed to be electronic cash. That's what Satoshi Nakamoto wrote in the original Bitcoin white paper. But it's become a store of value, a decentralized spreadsheet. It's a freaking spreadsheet that's decentralized. It's held on thousands of computers that all self-check. They check with each other. These nodes, whoever's a bad actor, everybody else can tell. They didn't do the computation correctly. They didn't do the spreadsheet correct. You're out. We don't trust you. We don't trust in we don't have to trust in the nodes. We trust in the network. Because in this room, if we were all the nodes, it might be too much to put all your trust in one person. But because of how we're all whispering to each other, that game, where like, oh, so-and-so lied, and then the word spreads, and then that person's pushed out of the room. So that's how Bitcoin and all of these platforms, these blockchains work. Here we go. In Bitcoin we trust, hodl we must, says Yoda. Hodl. You're going to notice lots of strange terminology. Bitcoin is decentralized, not controlled by any government or bank, requires consensus across all the nodes rather than unilateral decisions. It's instant, one transaction can take minutes, versus days it takes in traditional banks. It's secure, transactions are anonymous, based upon this elliptical curve encryption of wallet addresses. Yeah, right, as if anybody understands that. Crypto's in your phone. it now behaves, now that there's so many of them, there's thousands and thousands, you can just download a wallet, install it. It facilitates low-cost transactions worldwide. Crypto can be used nearly anywhere, and it's bought and sold in countries across the whole world. The supply is typically limited. Unlike governments who can print more currency at any time, cryptocurrencies can only be released in limited supply. That's how they're designed. Limiting the number of Bitcoin makes the system stable. So there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. That's it. Only 21 million that are going to be in circulation. That's why the Winklevoss twins were making that grab for it. They were like, they literally say in their interviews, we are going to get 1% of the world's new reserve currency. That was their declaration and their implementation, what they were able to do in 2011. And so it's fascinating what you can do once you understand the ramifications, because I bet you think back now to when you first heard about Bitcoin years ago. Did anybody say to you on that day just this simple little phrase, did you know that there's only 21 million of them? And did you know that 5 million of them have been lost? That means it's only ever going to be 15 million. And they're in such limited supply that maybe it might be worth having a few, because what if they got into high demand? Nobody said it to you like that until right now. That's why this day is like the 0 point. After this day, you'll never be able to say, I didn't know about all of that. It's so cool how this information how deep it can go. Currencies work like a stock market. Again, this ain't rocket science. You can go and trade stocks and shares. People do that all the time. That's how Apple went from $5 to like $5,000 in its actual, before it did all of its splits. You can use almost any currency to buy Bitcoin now, any fiat, and the price will vary day to day, and it works just like a stock market. You just go to the exchange. The coolest thing is, you need a lot more compliance, all this KYC, know your customer, to go to the stock market and actually buy stuff. You still do to an extent, but now there are all these other options. You can get involved with crypto, actually, thanks to these new decentralized exchanges. Bitcoin is like anything else. It's worth what people are willing to pay for it. When people say to you, it can't be worth $50,000, there's nothing backing it, there's nothing behind it. It's whatever people say it's worth. This is putting the world's money into perspective. All the money, apparently in the whole world, is 83.6 trillion. Well, this is actually a few years ago, because look, on this chart, Bitcoin was only 41 billion. Now it's a trillion. That's 1,000 billion. That's 41 billion. It's grown to 1,000 billion in a handful of years. But meanwhile, Gates and Larry Page, their wealth hasn't changed that much. They're pretty much where they're at. Gold, it's now about 10 trillion. Here's another chart of all the world's different currencies, the FX securities, the bonds. The cryptocurrency market has grown in total to $2.3 trillion, with probably about 500 billion or more traded every day worldwide across all these markets. And so this capital here, this fiat world, is it possible that the fiat world, this universe, might want to flow into the cryptocurrency universe? What could that happen? This is like a straw. When the flow wants to start moving, can they get more pipes in? And could this start to inflate? And what does that mean? That means capital allocation. When there's only 21 million and 5 million are missing, and all the other top ones have limited supply, so interesting what could happen. Bitcoin is not unregulated. It's not unregulated. That's what they want you to. It is regulated by an algorithm instead of being regulated by a government bureaucracy. It's incorruptible. That's what they say anyway. And here's how the stats of people around the world and how they're using it. Turkey is coming up top. Where's Mexico? 12. Chile, 11. Australia, 7%. US, 5%. Apparently, that's 2019. Those figures probably would have grown substantially since then. I couldn't find any more recent ones. So what's your exit strategy on Bitcoin, Batman? Dumbass! Bitcoin is the exit strategy. That's like Morpheus. Hang on. What? I won't have to trade Bitcoin? What do you mean Bitcoin is the exit strategy? Still doesn't compute yet. I get it. I get it. I get that it doesn't compute. But we're getting somewhere. So following year, following year, the price was always higher. These are the highs of each year. 2012, $57. That was the high. 2013, this is Bitcoin, 353. 2014, 870. 2015, 991. 2016, 1974. 2017, 4,884. 2018, 8,856. 2019, so some years it only goes up by a small amount. Then 2020, 13,000. And 2021, well, so far it actually got up to as high as 69,000, just shy of 70,000. But now it's dropped right back because of those whales. You know, you tell me, what happens if you have 1,000 Bitcoin? If you have billions of dollars, do you know you can move a market, like a market like that? You can move it with some tens of millions, especially if you have buddies. You all get together, you can move a whole market. But what's happened in the last year? Look at this. This is Halloween crypto prices of just 10 of top ones. 12 months ago, Bitcoin 13,000, 48,000, went up by 3.5x. Ethereum $386 this time last year, now 4,000 at 10x. Binance Coin $28, 566. That's a 20x. Tether, that's the stable coin. It doesn't look very interesting, does it? It's like, oh, it's still $1. It's pegged to the, Tether must be so boring then. Let's look at that in a little while. Cardano, 9 cents. ADA, that is. 13x up to $1.24. Solana, $1.44. $171. What the? 118 times? My money went up 118 times. That's what somebody, XRP, only 4x. What's going on with XRP? I thought it was in with the banking cartels. How come it's always so low? What's this thing with XRP and Ripple? Why is it always around $1 and pushed down and yet it's got all the deals with the Bank of England? Maybe you should find out. Polkadot wants to be the central hub for all blockchains, like Cosmos, like several of the really interesting ones. They're going to connect. What happens if you make the TCP/IP? You don't even know what TCP/IP is. That's what made the internet happen. It enabled all the telecommunications, and it was just open source code. Nobody owns TCP/IP. But because of that, we can all talk with each other all over the world. All the blockchains are all different silos. They're all separate. What happens to all the blockchains when they are able to connect with each other and move capital freely between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano and XRP and Polkadot, and the list goes on and on? What happens? And they're fast getting there. Polkadot just opened all of its chains, all of its connectors up just this last month. Doge, this stupid meme coin, and the even stupider one, Shiba. Shiba is so stupid that if you put money into it a year ago, you'd only have 450,000 times more money. So if you were really dumb and put $1 into it last year, $2, you'd have $1 million right now from $2. Does math lie? Can you go double check this stuff? What happens when you go back in the records and you look at the chart and say, surely not, no way. 31st of October, 2020, there can't be 10 zeros and a 76 because that's just a stupid number. It's just stupid. This is stupid stuff you're saying now, Barnaby, because now it's only got 4 zeros. These kind of things are just dumb. I'm not even interested in these ones because they look really dumb. I'm more interested in these ones up here, where you get 3.5 times. 3.5 times, much more interesting than $2 into $1 million in 12 months. Wow. So hang on, so are you trying to tell me, Barnaby, that in this Crypto Bubbles website where you can just type in and do whatever time frame, like a year, and you're saying that out of all the cryptocurrencies, the stupidest meme coin, the stupidest cryptocurrency, Shiba Inu had the biggest gain of 55 million. 55 million%. Do you know that there was a wallet? This guy bought $8,000 sometime at the end of last year of Shiba Inu. He has $8 billion in his wallet, and because all the wallets are on the chain, it's still there. So all this mass speculation, is he dead? Has he forgotten? Did he lose his keys? Does he still believe in Shiba? Does he think it's going to double again? He's going to go from 8 billion to 16 billion? Because it hasn't touched his wallet yet. A bit like Satoshi. Everything is there on record to check. How into this must I be to remember all of this stuff to tell you? It's so ridiculous, all this detail. But is it ridiculous? Is it? It's interesting. Like this one, only 181,000%. What do we got? Hex, 2,000%. Sand, this is of the metaverse. Solana, 10,000%. Doge, see, they copied Doge. It only got almost 5,000%. 55 million% in 12 months. How do I track all the charts? You just go to tradingview.com. Who likes reading charts? Maybe none of you. I love, as Bruce Ellis can attest, you walk past my desk, yeah, there's a few computers open, always a chart there. I've been tracking charts for 20 years. These are my charts. That's how I like to do stuff. That's how I like to track Bitcoin. This is what I do. I have these incredible indicators that are so complex to read when it says buy, sell, buy, sell. Really difficult stuff. When to buy and when to sell. Because I'm actually so busy building this blockchain stuff. That's what I mostly do. I don't have any time for trading. And yet I love it. I have so much fun trading. But what if there were things that were even more lucrative than trading? Do you know that you can actually program a bot using a site called 3 Commas that does an API integration directly into this TradingView? TradingView is the largest across all commodities, all stock markets. It costs you it's free for 3 indicators, free. I think the maximum plan is like $50 a month. And there are millions and millions of traders all over the world figuring all these different algorithms out to help you trade better, to program them in. Like this one that's called Lux Algo. It has this programming of when to buy and sell. And you can program it with 3 commas to do it automatically. So that, remember what Buffett said? Make money while you sleep. If you don't make money while you sleep, you'll be working until you die. But what does that even mean, right? But it's something to contemplate. And the other place, so TradingView is where I do all my chart research. DuckDuckGo is where I go to do other research because, Bitcoin is, because Google's so 1984. And then, of course, there's YouTube. And I have all these amazing people, these geniuses, smarter than me, some of them. I even like listening to the dumb ones. And here's my own channel. This is, look, yours truly, there I am. With my business partner, Noble Jacon. We're running Crypto 10X. You can come here and register, and we put out videos as well. So as if I'm not doing enough, I'm interviewing people whenever I can to ask them what they think. So I can shut up and listen or ask them all the tough questions and then record it and post it. I just did 3 interviews in the last 2 days with people. This is just on my YouTube, my free YouTube channel that I like running. Just like I like doing charts, just like I like talking to all of you. Oh, it's so much fun.